You guys, this might be our most ambitious adventure yet. A cross-country road trip in just 6 days. Yep, we're attempting to get from Napa, California, all the way to my aunt and uncle's house just outside of Philadelphia. To do that, we'll have to cover 3,600 miles across 12 states in less than a week. If you've ever wondered how much of America you can experience in just 1 week, this video is for you. This first leg of our trip is from Napa, California, through Nevada, Utah, Idaho, and into Jackson, Wyoming. Here's leg 1.
All right, so we're starting here in the Napa Valley for our cross-country road trip. We're gonna be going 3,000 miles and seeing so many states. It's gonna be awesome.
Let's go! Over the years, Grant and I have figured out a simple road trip hack: the power of a head start. Instead of driving all 900 miles from Napa to Jackson in one day, we decided to leave the night before. That way, we'll have more time to make stops along the way. We cruised through Sacramento, past Reno, and stopped just 3.5 hours from home at a ranch guest house in Fernley, Nevada. It was the perfect spot to recharge before a super long day of driving, day 2. So we got in last night at 11, and let me tell you, when you arrive at 11, your 4:15 a.m. alarm comes around pretty quickly. So we're running on about 4 hours of sleep, which is fine. We're just going to take turns this morning and keep our shifts pretty short so that, the other person can rest. But we're excited to be on the road. This beautiful sunrise more than makes up for our early alarm clock. Day 2, and we're going to cover some serious mileage through eastern Nevada, Salt Lake City, Idaho Falls, and into our final destination for tonight, Jackson Hole, Wyoming. But first, coffee.
Cool.
Nice breakfast sandwich. One quick tip if you're driving through this part of Nevada is making sure to gas up whenever you can. Gas stations out here are pretty rare, and you can drive for more than an hour before seeing the next one. One solid stop is the Maverick Station in Battle Mountain. Clean bathrooms, snacks, and a chance to scrape the bugs off your windshield before hitting the road again. To me, eastern Nevada is the Wild West. Besides the highway and a few tunnels once in a while, you're really not going to see very many man-made structures for miles. Just desert, sagebrush, and mountains in the distance. And then out of the blue, a desert oasis pops up out of nowhere. A city full of casinos, hot food, cold drinks, and one big cowboy. We are here at the border of Nevada and Utah. And what's great about this place is this is what they call the gateway to the West. Behind me is the entire state of Nevada where we just came from, and ahead of us is the Bonneville Salt Flats, 30,000 acres of salt flats. And who better to welcome us to West Wendover than the famous Wendover Will, and he's actually the world's largest mechanical cowboy. Yeehaw! West Wendover is a great place to fuel up your gas tank and your belly before a long drive through the famous Bonneville Salt Flats. A local we met suggested lunch at Roberto's for some hearty Mexican food, and we never turned down a local recommendation. So we're passing the Bonneville Salt Flats, which is considered one of the flattest places on Earth. And so that's why a lot of land speed records have been broken here. And, we're not going to try to break any records here going through this highway. But just so you know, it's about 80 miles per hour is the speed limit. And a lot of people are going much faster than that. But we're kind of stuck behind a few trucks here. But even then, it's not bad.
So we were planning on going to the Tree of Life, Utah, but we're actually not going to be going there because you have to go all the way down on the freeway, spin around 25 minutes, and then come all the way back. So we just are going to show you the Tree of Life, Utah, awkwardly through shooting by Teresa while she's driving. So that was the Tree of Life, Utah.
Life just passed us by, or I guess we could say that we passed life by.
Yep.
After miles and miles of blinding white and sky that never seemed to end, the Salt Flats gave way to mountains on the horizon and little pools of water from the Great Salt Lake. Next stop is Utah's capital, Salt Lake City. Our first stop was Salt Lake City's most famous building, the Salt Lake Temple of the Mormon Church. It was dedicated in 1893 and is unfortunately closed for renovations until 2026, so we'll have to make do with just driving by today. But luckily, another famous building is just down the road and is a nice spot for us to get out and stretch our legs.
All right, so we are here in front of the Capitol building in Utah, and it's actually really beautiful architecture, and everyone here is really nice. Weather's sunny, mountains are in the background, still a little bit of snow up on the hills. Utah's pretty cool.
And it's 95 degrees.
It's warmer than you would expect, yeah, that's for sure.
As much as we wanted to spend more time in Salt Lake City, we had about another 280 miles to drive to our Airbnb in Jackson, Wyoming. And we wanted to make one famous pit stop first, the Great Salt Lake.
All right, so we've been told that there may be bison here at Salt Lake, and apparently they may be dangerous, so we'll keep our eyes out.
It's like the Salt Flats again. Wow. So we're here at Antelope Island State Park. This is where we drove from Salt Lake City. We were planning to actually take a swim. We're here at the beach access point. But a change of plans because it's just way too hot. It's almost 100 degrees today, and there are actually signs around saying that it might be unsafe to swim because the water level is so low. I'm not sure why that makes it unsafe, but given that there's warnings about it being unsafe to swim, we're looking out and there's literally no one swimming right now, and the water is really far away, and I don't feel like trekking all the way over there in this heat, and the fact that our car is like pretty much surrounded by giant hornets. I feel like we need to call an audible here. We're gonna do a driving tour instead of going to the water to swim, so I think that's what I'm comfortable with. I think it's just way too hot. I don't feel safe getting out of the car with all these hornets, and I do not feel like walking, 200 yards in the heat to reach the water. So Grant, are you okay with that?
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay, we're gonna move on. It's unanimous. In the end, we were really happy with our decision to stick with a driving tour of Antelope State Park. Being at this high elevation at this time of the year, it's just way too hot to be wandering around on foot. And they're building a brand new visitor center right now, so while that's under construction, there's no water available on the island, so keep that in mind. We said goodbye to the Great Salt Lake and we were back on the road with our goal of getting to Jackson, Wyoming before nightfall. That meant driving up through northern Utah and into Idaho. This was my first time driving through this part of the country, and it actually reminded me a lot of Southern California, with lots of hills and low shrubbery. We made the decision to make one final stop in Idaho before pushing through to Wyoming, and that stop is Idaho Falls. After hours on the road, Idaho Falls felt like a breath of fresh air. The Snake River runs right through the heart of town, and we couldn't resist pulling over to walk by the falls. The sound of the water, the cool mist in the air, the green trees, it was a really nice transition from the desert we've been driving through all day to a more lush, vibrant town setting, and it was the perfect reset before getting back behind the wheel. This is our last stop of the day before pushing ahead to Jackson. We'll see you there.
It's a really nice downtown. The people are really friendly. It's nice having a waterfall running right through the center of the town. You've got a big water tower up there. It seems like a kind of a iconic, part of this town.
Yeah, we'll be back for sure.
Certainly coming back. So it's a nice place.
One thing I wasn't prepared for was how beautiful eastern Idaho is. Back home in California, our hills have long turned to gold for the summer, but here in eastern Idaho, it's this lush green farmland. We're driving through eastern Idaho, and honestly, I think this is the most beautiful part of our trip so far. Definitely the most gorgeous views. It's just rolling green hills that abut these beautiful mountains. So we just passed the town of Victor, Idaho, which is a really cute town up here in eastern Idaho. After about a mile of passing this town, and we actually got a notification. The car was telling us that one of our tires was low on pressure. So luckily we were only about a mile outside of town. We were able to do a little U-ey, go back to the gas station there, and re-inflate the tire. For now, I think it's good. Grant did a great job of refilling the rear tire there. It looks like all of the tires are at the correct tire pressure PSI. Let's just hope everything stays good, and let's hope everything stays fixed, at least until we reach Jackson. So it turned out to be a good news, bad news situation. The good news, we made it to Jackson before dark. The bad news, our tire was flat again, and thanks to a mix-up at the rental car agency, we had no help until morning. So our road trip had just hit its first real twist. What happens next? Find out in part 2, which, spoiler alert, includes our grand tour of the Grand Tetons and Yellowstone National Park. We'll see you next time.